Hello everyone and welcome to another maths lesson, and today we are working on calculating, and that's just a word that means, that's really just the maths that means maths word for working out. I can calculate, I can work out half of odd numbers, or numbers with odd digits. So here's our starter. Right, what have I written here? There's something with a missing word. What's the missing word? Pause the video, have a go. Okay, well, it says an odd number minus 1 equals what kind of a number? I've written it here. Or an odd number minus 1 or take away 1 gives us what? Well, I've drawn the odd numbers here. So 1 is odd, 3 is odd. Let's try it. An odd number, 3 is an odd number. If I take away 1, I'll cut this 1 off, cross it out to show it. Oh, look. Well, that must be, mustn't it? 3 take away 1 is 2. And I've made an odd number. If I take away 1, the odd number is an even number. Let's see, does it work again? Yes, it does. Here's 5. What's the odd thing about 5? Well, the odd thing about 5 is the extra 1 that doesn't make a pair of 2. If I take away this extra 1, well, 5 minus 1 equals 4. And it's the same shape as 4. So an odd number minus 1 is an even number. Odd number minus 1 is an even number. What about even numbers? If I add 1, I'll take 1 over here. 8 is an even number. If I add 1, look. Well, I've made an odd. Or even numbers add 1 make odd. Even number add 1 makes an odd number. So we're going to use this information today. And first of all, let's just start off by revising some work. Well, what does it mean? I've got some missing things here, so just have a look, pause the video. What will the missing numbers and words mean? Okay, let's try. Half. Half. To find half of something means to divide by 2. Look, if we're talking about half of 6, I've got 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 circles. Half of it means I've got to divide it into 2 equal parts. A line right down the middle. And so half of 6 is the same as 6 divided by 2. And that means each of the 2 parts is 3. With a bar model, it looks like this. The whole amount is 6. We split it into 3 equal parts. To halve, to work out half, we divide the whole by 2. And we use our 2 times table, don't we? 6 divided by 2. We're saying how many 2's make 6? What number times 2 makes 6? Okay. 3 times 2. Half of 6 is 3. Well, this is not too hard. So working out a half of a number is easy when we have even numbers because they're on the 2 times table. They come in nice even 2's. So half of 2, okay, half of 2 is 2 divided by 2. Here's the 2, down the middle, well, 1 each. And which times tables did we use? Well, 2 divided by 2 means how many 2's make 2? 1. So we're using 1 times 2. Whoops, sorry, 1 times 2 equals 2. Half of 4. We know that one, that's very easy. Half of 4. We're using 4 divided by 2. So we're saying, how many 2's make 4? 2 times 2, half of 8. Oh, I'll draw half horizontally. This time, it's 8 divided by 2. How many 2's make 8? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're using, we are using 4 times 2 equals 8. And I'm sure it's good to know, isn't it, that it's the same thing when we have multiples of 10, which are even, like 40, 60, or 120. Because half of 40, well, 40 is just 4 tens. 10, 20, 30, 40. Half of 4 is 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So 40 divided by 2, it's not 2 ones, it's 2 tens. So 20, half of 60, 60 divided by 2. Well, 60 is 6 tens. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So 60 divided by 2 is not 3 ones, it's 3 tens. 1, 2, 3. 3 tens, 30. 120, well, it's good for us to think that 120 is 12 tens. 100 is 10 tens, 2 more tens. So just like we can do 12 divided by 2 is 6, 120 divided by 2, 12 tens divided by 2 is not 6 ones, it's 6 tens, so it's 60. If we draw that horizontal line, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Okay, but we also now want to be able to bring that together. Let's imagine we have a number like 68. Well, that's an easy one to do half of as well, because 6 is even and 8 is even. We split the 68 into how many tens? 6 tens is 60, and 8 ones. We do half of the tens, so can you see we split it into 68 into 60 and 8. 60 divided by 2 is 30. 8 divided by 2 is 4. We add the two parts together. 30 add 4 is 34. Oh, I forgot this. 68. I just drew it on the... Oops. Okay, so it's not too bad, is it, this? When the numbers are, all the digits are even, we just split it into 60 and 8, half of 60, half of 8, add the two parts together, and half of 68 is 34. Half of 68 is 34. And what do we do when it's odd numbers and odd digits? Well, let's start with the very first of the odd numbers, or the positive odd numbers. So 1 is an odd number. What is half of 1? What is 1 halved? What is 1 divided by 2? Well, let's look at this. I have one cake. Here it is, one whole cake. And I have cut it into 2 equal parts. What have I done? Cut it into half. So 1 divided by 2 gives me a half of a cake. Here's 1 cube. I cut it down the middle. What have I got here? I've got half a cube. 1 divided by 2 is a half. Half of 1 is 1 half. 1 divided by 2 equals 1 half. Now, that's important. We've got to remember that because we're going to use it in all our other calculations. So, what's the problem with half of 5? Oh, the problem with half of 5 is that 5 is an odd number. So, 5 is not on the 2 times table, is it? And if I split it up, what am I going to do? It's going to be, shall I put the extra 1 with the 2 over here? And do, like, these 3. Oh, but then there's 2 here. Oh, I don't know what to do. Well, here's how we could think about it. Can you see what I've done with the 5? I'm going to remember that I know that every odd number, if we think about it, is just 1 more than an even number. So I'm taking the 1 that makes it odd, and I'm partitioning my odd number so that what I've got is, I've made from 5, I've got 4 and a 1. Here, I've drawn it in a part whole diagram. 5 is a 4 and a 1. I do half of the 4 is 2. Look, half of the 4 here is 2. And then half of the 1 is a half. 2 and a half. To add a half is 2 and a half. If we had drawn our 5 differently, maybe we'd put the odd 1 in the middle and then drawn a line down it. Half of 5 is 2 and a half. 1 whole, 2 wholes, and a half. Another way to write 2 and a half is to use our decimals. 2.5. 2 wholes and a half is the same as 2.5. Okay, can we try and use that now? You have a go at half of 7. It's another odd number. So pause the video and have a go. Well, I hope you've paused the video. So what we can do is the 7 that there was, we split it into 6 and 1. So the 7 we've split into the 6 and 1. We take away 1 to make it 6 and 1. Then we half the even number we've made. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. And then, remember, the 1, half of 1 is a half. We've got 3 and a half. 1 divided by 2 is a half. 3 add a half is 3 and a half. What did we say? We can write it 3 and a half, or we can also use our decimals. 3 and a half or 3.5. Now don't worry about the decimals if that's tricky at the moment, but if you can do that, do. 13 divided by 2, pause the video and have a go. Remember, 13 is odd. We want to split it into an even number and 1. Hope you paused the video. So 13 is odd. We partition to make it easier. So take away 1 to make it 12 and 1. 12 in one part, 1 in the other part. Half of 12 is 6. Half of 1 is a half. So So we split 13 into 12 and 1. Oops. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 1 divided by 2 is a half. 6 add a half makes 6 wholes and a half. If we can write it as a decimal number, do you remember what that's going to be? 6 and a half, 6.5. Okay. So it's the same idea when we want to do an odd number of tens. Half of 50, 50 is 5 tens. The problem is that the 5 digit is odd. We can do almost the same thing. Here's our 50, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Now instead of taking away one unit, 1, we take away 10. We split the 50. So look, we split it into 40 and 10. Okay. For 50, we split it into 40 and 10. Half of 40 and half of 10. So 40 divided by 2 is 20. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And 20 add 5 is 25. So 50 divided by 2 is 25. And we use this in the same way. When we have that odd digit or odd number, if we take away 1 or we take away 10, we easily make it into an even number that's good to work with. So here's our question. Half of 90. 90 is 9 tens. Oh, that's tricky, 9. But how about splitting it? If we just think, take away that 10, then we will split 90 into 80 and 10. And then they are easy to work with. Half of the 80 is 40. Half of the 10 is 5. And add them together. 40 add 5 is 45. So we split the 90 into 80 and 10. We do half of 80, add half of 10. And we have our answer. Half of 90 is 45. Well, half of 130, same thing. Ooh, 13 tens. Take away 10, split the 130 into 120 and 10. 120 divided by 2 is 60. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 60 add 5 is 65. Half of 130 is 65. We have something very similar now, 45. Okay, we split the 45 into 40 and 5. Half of 40 is 20. Ooh, half of 5. Well, you might know it, or you might think, I want to split that 5 up into a nice easy one, and I'll think not 5, but 4 and 1. Half of 4 is 2. Half of 1 is a half. So, half of 45 is 22 and a half. Last one. Ooh, half of 57. This is our hardest one so far because the 5 is odd and the 7 is odd. Split the 57 into 50 and 7. If you want to, you could split the 50 into 40 and 10, and the 7 into 6 and 1. But with practice, you'll think to yourself, half of 50 is 25. Half of 7 is 3.5. 25 add 3 is 28. Don't forget the half. Remember that 50 is just a 40 and 10. Half of 40 is 20, half of 10 is 5, so 20 and 5 is 25. The 7, we can imagine it as a 6 and a 1. Half of 6 is 3, half of the 1 is a half. 25, add 3.5, add the whole numbers first. 25 and 3 is 28, add the half. So, I hope that everyone's going to be ready to have a go. Level 1, we have just practicing the even numbers, even digits. Level 2, we start to have the smaller odd numbers. Then we get to the bigger and the more complicated odd numbers and 2 odd digits. Okay, well, good luck. Have a go, everybody. See you soon. Bye.